Good evening and welcome to this week's special edition of Ghana Police Watch on the police and Ghanaian businesses. Before we go any further, however, some good news which reflects due recognition of some of the recent achievements by Ghana Police Service. At the 8th Ghana Information Technology and Telecoms Award held at Mövenpick Ambassador Hotel on June 28, Inspector General of Police Mr. David Asante received on behalf of the Ghana Police Service 2 top awards. These were for Best Government Websites and the Best Government Use of Social Media for Citizen Engagement. Mr. David Asante also grabbed the Gold Award for Leadership and Innovation in ICT. Communications is key in governance, and Ghana Police Watch is proud to be part of this achievement. We say congratulations and more grease to the elbows of the Ghana Police Service. This evening, our focus is on issues related to policing, security, and the private business sector, which, as has been noted, is a significant engine of the economy and a source of income and livelihood for millions of Ghanaians. Security and protection of business assets is therefore of utmost interest to us all. This evening, we are privileged to have in the studio Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and Anose Bonsu, CEO of Private Enterprise Federation, to discuss the pertinent issues. In previous programs of Ghana Police Watch, we have stressed the importance of peace and maintenance of law and order as crucial preconditions for businesses to operate effectively and thrive.
Like many have said, if West Africa is to make it, Ghana has to make it, because Ghana is that one shining light of peace within the sub-region.
Ghana is ranked the best place for doing business in West Africa and remains your gateway to accessing the ECOWAS market of over 350.
Constitutionally, the police is there to guarantee the peace and security of the citizens. Not just the citizens, but all those who are within the borders of the country. But they are also there to serve a social purpose, a social service of maintaining discipline and making sure there's order.
Police emergency, how may I assist you?
It's when we live in peace that people can go about their duty respectably and also in comfort. It promotes the economy of our country and also promotes tourism.
Is your business receiving the maximum level of protection? One of the key challenges facing Ghanaian businesses is cybercrime, with criminals targeting the banking sector particularly. As banks transfer more of their services and products online, the impact has potentially dire consequences. For viewers at home, you may be asking, what is cybercrime and the different types? Dr. Herbert Gustav-Yangsing, who is Director of the Cybercrime Unit of Ghana Police Service, has been monitoring the trends closely.
Cybercrime basically is a crime that is committed within the cyberspace. And in our laws, any crime that is committed wholly or partially with the use of electronic devices. So many of them. The cyber fraud, we have crimeware. It's a software that has been designed to commit crimes. Malware is just a software that is designed for malicious purposes. Hacking, charlatanic adverts that are not true, that are sent out there, fake news with the intention to cause fear and panic, and sextortion. Sextortion basically deals with this blackmail with nude pictures, sending out emails with the intention of just getting people's credentials, bank information, account information. Usually they would send you an information that is purported to have come from a trustworthy entity, like let's say your bank. I know your boss, I know his email address. What I would do is I will try to, for lack of a better word, let me use impersonate his EID for his email to send an email to you so that you would believe that it's coming from your boss, and then you carry out instructions, possibly to do some payments. So many of them.
Make robbery and theft unattractive. Help stop the robbers and thieves. They come only to steal and deprive you of your valuable property. Did you know that your stolen items are sold cheaply to unsuspecting buyers? Do not make your home or workplace an easy target for robbers and thieves. Protect your property. Secure your electronic gadgets such as TV sets, ghetto blasters, laptop computers, mobile phones, and other valuables by marking them. Permanently mark your items with your name or a unique symbol. This will serve as a disincentive to thieves. Take pictures of your items and write down their serial and model numbers, as well as keep purchase receipts of your property. Also know the special ID number on your mobile phone, tablet or iPad, and remember to inscribe a unique mark on your items. Your ID marks, photographs, receipts, model and serial numbers, and special ID numbers of your mobile devices will help the police to retrieve your items in case they are stolen. Fit your doors with quality locks and secure your windows. Install CCTV cameras if you can afford them and make sure they are working properly. It helps the police to arrest thieves. Know your neighbors and develop a good rapport with them so that you can assist one another in the event of a robbery attack. Do not resist or fight back when robbers demand for your money or other valuables. You may be harmed or killed if you resist. In the event of a robbery, do not touch things around before you call the police. Thieves always leave clues at the scene. This may help in tracing them. Call the police emergency lines on 191 toll-free on all networks and 18555 on Vodafone and MTN for help.
For bank fraud, there are so many of them. We have the business email compromise. For business email compromise, it could be perpetrated against any company, but then usually they can also do it to the banks, especially companies that communicate with them via emails. They communicate with their bankers via email. One of the biggest challenge with that one is that they will spoof your email, meaning that they will use your same email. So it will be very difficult for the other party to be able to tell that this is not your email. Or sometimes they will just change a letter just for you to be able to find it very difficult to be able to identify, to be able to tell whether it's really coming from your clients, for example. So business email is email compromise is where the email is compromised. So let's say, let me give a typical example. A finance officer communicates with his bankers. So they know his email address. So what I do is that I spoof the email pretending to be him and then give an instructions to the bank for the bank to carry it out. And millions of Ghana cedis, millions of dollars is lost to the criminals all the time. So that is the business email compromise. And then we also have the SIM swap assisted fraud. The SIM swap assisted fraud is where you have your own SIM. You will be there, it will not be working anymore. Somebody has found a way. It could be trying to fraudulently acquire an ID for the telcos to believe that it is you, and then they also issue a new SIM to that individual. So you'll be there, your phone will no more be working, and then they will now have access to your SIM. And then eventually, if there is any transaction, like they are able to have access to your check, for example, they just sign something, take it to the bank. The bank will surely would want to find out from you whether you indeed authorized this kind of transaction. Then he has your number. So then he receives it. Yes, this is Yangson here. Yes, have you authorized us to give, let's say, Mr. So and so 500,000 Ghana cedis? So yes. This is Yangson. Kindly go ahead. Then that's the end. So then eventually after that, he will destroy that one as well. And you also realize later that your SIM is not working. You are not able to get calls. I mean, if you know yourself, you know that every 1 hour at least you get one call. So you see that no, there's something abnormal. Then you go there and then you realize that your SIM has been swapped. Then later you get to know from your bankers that this is what has happened. So that is the way they perpetrate that one. And then the usual credit card fraud, I believe that we are very familiar with. For the credit card, they get your credit card information. And then they get a credit card information, and then they would use it to either shop online, and because they have all the pieces of information from your card, or you yourself would shop. As you shop, they can use a malware to infect your system. The malware is the malicious software that I talked about. It may come in the form of emails with an attachment, and immediately you click on it, your system gets infected, meaning that your system has been compromised. And if it is compromised, then anything that you are doing on your computer could be seen by that third party who wrote that program. So if you always shop online using your own computer thinking that it is safe, because your computer is infected, that information on your card will go to that third party and he will use it to shop. Or physically he can have access to your card and then use it to shop. So these are all, that is the credit card. And then the POS assisted fraud. POS assisted fraud is related to the point of sale device. You know, this point of sale device that you just swipe and then, yeah, exactly. That type of, what is happening is that the criminals, they are finding ways and means to make it look okay just to get the money. So what they do is that they go to these banks, get these POS devices that look, I'm doing a business. For example, I have a hotel, so that when people come, they will be able to use it. That is fine. But then they get these criminals online, get them the credit card information, and then they will now clone the cards and use it on the POS device. So the person will be there complaining that I've never even been to Ghana, neither have I been to that hotel that you're talking about. So, but they are in sort of it's a syndicate. Those technical guys are there trying to get your information, and then somebody will also be here trying to clone the cards and use it on the POS device, so that usually to go against the banks, and the banks, if they don't monitor it, they would lose a lot of money. So that is also related to the bank. And then we have the application software assisted fraud. A lot of these banks now have apps that they use for their clients that to communicate, to do transactions online. It's fine. The basic thing is that sometimes the security behind the application is one of them, but I don't want to go there now. But generally, what we have also seen is that they allow two cards, for example, to be attached to it without verifying whether truly it belongs to that third party. So, for example, I have an app. It's related to my bank card. So then I try to get your card and then attach it to mine because the banks have allowed it. You get my point. They allow it without checking whether truly that card is in my name. And most often they would get it online. So they don't care, they are just doing business. They want to bring convenience, so that's okay. And that is the challenge that we see with this particular one. So the next thing is that I use your card to attach to mine and I instruct for withdrawals. So then eventually I get access to your money. You know, previously cards were not used for this type of, but now they are able to, through this activity, they are able to withdraw money, cash. Instead of previously they were using it for shopping and buying stuff, but now they are withdrawing money.
We are most grateful to Dr. Yangson, Director of the Cybercrime Unit of Ghana Police Service.
Make robbery and theft unattractive. Help stop the robbers and thieves. They come only to steal and deprive you of your valuable property. Did you know that your stolen items are sold cheaply to unsuspecting buyers? Do not make your home or workplace an easy target for robbers and thieves. Protect your property. Secure your electronic gadgets such as TV sets, ghetto blasters, laptop computers, mobile phones, and other valuables by marking them. Permanently mark your items with your name or a unique symbol. This will serve as a disincentive to thieves. Take pictures of your items and write down their serial and model numbers, as well as keep purchase receipts of your property. Also know the special ID number on your mobile phone, tablet or iPad, and remember to inscribe a unique mark on your items. Your ID marks, photographs, receipts, model and serial numbers, and special ID numbers of your mobile devices will help the police to retrieve your items in case they are stolen. Fit your doors with quality locks and secure your windows. Install CCTV cameras if you can afford them and make sure they are working properly. It helps the police to arrest thieves. Know your neighbors and develop a good rapport with them so that you can assist one another in the event of a robbery attack. Do not resist or fight back when robbers demand for your money or other valuables. You may be harmed or killed if you resist. In the event of a robbery, do not touch things around before you call the police. Thieves always leave clues at the scene. This may help in tracing them. Call the police emergency lines on 191 toll-free on all networks and 18555 on Vodafone and MTN for help.
Was that from outside? Silence can be frightening when you're home with your family alone at night or away. But you can help protect your home and loved ones with an easy-to-use Response 1 alarm monitoring and police response system. Response 1 helps protect against burglary and other security emergencies by linking your home or workplace to a Response 1 monitoring center and police response system. Tailored alarm system packages for your home and workplace starting as low as 5 cedis a day. Call us now on 030-277-0359, 020-744-3629 or 020-744-3811. Response 1. It's sound advice.
Everything has been installed. I will be fine, Dad.
High tech. She the lie bad could happen tonight. This are no fence.
They couldn't get in this time.
How come?
Security warehouse.
Smart choice. I guess you have some footage for me there. Crystal clear picture. Pause. I think I know this man. He has a long history with robbery and rape. You are fortunate to have equipped your house with gadgets from Security Warehouse. Call it in. We'll begin the investigation from here.
Control, come over.
And now, an appropriate time to welcome our studio guest, Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and Nana Osei-Bonsu, CEO of Private Enterprise Federation. I have with me Nana Osei-Bonsu. He is the Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation. Welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I also have with me Mr. Yofi Grant. He is a Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Thank you for making time to join us.
Thank you.
Right, so we're starting off with the private sector and what they expect of the Ghana Police Service. Nana.
Well, for the business community, the serene atmosphere, rule of law and order, protection of assets. That's the first and foremost, because nobody's going to put their money in any scenario or situation where it cannot be protected. So the private sector always look to the police to protect them in a way that they leave home, they leave work in the evening, they go home, they expect to find their assets intact. And that's one of the more prime services the private sector expects the police to do. And they expect the police to be friendly as well while doing that service.
Mr. Grant, is this what the investors also expect?
Well, yes, actually, peace, and of course, peace is a very, very important construct for investors. I mean, when an investor is more likely to invest in a peaceful country than one that there is no peace. They are more likely to invest in a country that has rule of law and respect for the law than one that doesn't have it. They would sooner invest in a country that has a disciplined society and also a disciplined and objective police force that would ensure that cases are dealt with and are judged, according to the merit of the case and not because it's either the investor or the private citizen. So where there's real objectivity. And that's what mainly investors will look for when they're comparing country to country. Definitely peace ranks very high.
All right. And what are some of the things that they would see or some of the indicators that would tell them that this is a place to invest or that my expectations will be met?
Well, that, you don't hear of too many cases of armed robbery. You don't hear of too many cases of fighting in places. You don't hear too many cases of break-ins. You don't hear too many cases of unwarranted arrests. Like I said, I mean, a semblance of peace, continuity, and life being lived, in a convivial, happy way, makes it more attractive to the investor.
Or Nana, yes, you don't expect to hear so many of these crimes being reported, but in instances where crimes are reported, that the police would act swiftly.
That is very important. The swiftness with which the police will respond to a crime, respond to report of an alleged crime is very important because businesses don't have that much time to just go back and forth. So if there's an issue and has been reported to the police, they want immediate action, they want an update. And that's very critical because you want to be able to report to your board of directors and this is what happened. And as a consequence, we reported to the police and this is the action taken. So you want the police to have ready and be able to act swiftly in a friendly atmosphere and professional atmosphere.
I realize that you keep on emphasizing on the fact that they have to be friendly.
Yes.
But first of all, when there's crime and someone calls or the business calls the police should be able to get there in good time. I'm sure
definitely. That's why I said time is critical. You don't expect the police to react 2 days or 24 hours after the issue had been reported. You expect a police response immediately, at least to set the ball rolling and take all the necessary action subsequently.
So we've talked about peace and tranquility being so essential. What are some of the other expectations?
Professionalism from the police and also knowledgeable responsiveness. So the police understands the law and they can respond in an objective, professional manner and not to the whims and caprices of one party or the other.
Why is this professionalism so essential as far as businesses are concerned?
Because you want to know that the police are doing the right thing. And businesses rely on that. If the police, always victimize people, or they come and they will not look at the merits of the case, but will be influenced by other things, then it makes the businesses very terrified. And many businesses would be willing to speak to the police objectively if they are fair and they are professional. But if the image and the impression is that as soon as a policeman comes, you have to hand him something first before your case will be looked at on its merit, then it becomes very difficult for the business people because that's a business cost that you don't plan for.
Yeah. Now, you were talking earlier about the police being friendly. Now you can elaborate why you think this is so essential.
In our environment, even when you hire security agencies, they're almost like faceless. They sit outside the door. They don't look friendly. They look like, they want to crack somebody's head. But you want them to come and knock, good morning, sir, and, interact with the people. That's what we want to see the police. If you this is your jurisdiction and you're patrolling the neighborhood. There are businesses there. Knock at the door. Who are you? I'm Police Sergeant X, and I'm in your neighborhood in case you need help. It will change the understanding of businesses and the approach the police take. Because now business is going to report a case, and as Mr. Grant indicated, are they going to be objective? Are they going to react the way I expect them to react? Or maybe they're going to just say, what can I do? I don't even know what to do. Yeah. So you want that friendliness to, that's the first and foremost, upfront. So it makes people at ease that, oh, this is my sergeant. Can you go call the sergeant? He comes in. How you doing? We haven't seen you in a week. This is the kind of interaction that businesses will prefer.
Or probably a policeman who comes to you and wants to find out, can I get to do a quick check around your premises to see if you're properly secured?
Oh, that will be a welcome opportunity. Because, I mean, the business wants to protect their assets. And if a policeman comes in that, can I check around to see your security, everything, your windows are, hey, my friend, is he going to look for something? No. He just smile and thank you and he go, this is what he wants to say.
But you could also have a policeman who comes and, attempts to do a thing like this. And there are people who are going to be, wondering, okay, what's this man looking for?
But you see, that's why the friendliness is important, because it creates trust. It bridges a lot of the information asymmetry on what the police is supposed to do and the expectations of the business person or the private person. But if the police comes to you, as Mr. Osembuzu says, and introduce themselves and tell you why they're there, and this is consistent over a period, you build trust.
Yeah.
You end up learning to trust the policeman that, oh, I know him, he comes here, he's concerned about my welfare, he's concerned about my peace and my well-being. That's why he comes every day to talk to me and find out what's going on. And I think that is what the crux of community policing is built on. Trust and confidence that he's professional and he will do the right thing. It's very important.
Let me top that up, amplify a little bit. It creates a kind of relationship. It's not only the police officer versus the business, but a community of practitioners. So if there's something over a weekend, we don't go to work, and something happened. Oh, can somebody go find Sergeant X? He'll be at this location at this time, looking at the time, because I trust him, and I know he's on top of the business. So that kind of relationship is very necessary that we cultivate between business and police.
Right, but much as the police has to be friendly, when there's a crime, it's also important that the police presents a certain image that comes with authority.
Yes, sir. The deterrent.
How do you blend that?
That's what he said, professionalism. Mm-hmm. He's going to be courteous and respectful to you, but he will not let you break the law. He will enforce the law.
You see, there are two parts of policing, I believe. There is one that instills confidence in the society that the police is doing the right thing, keeping the peace, making sure that people are disciplined and will do the right thing. Then there's the other side of the operations of responsiveness to crime. You hardly have a community where everybody's a criminal. So, where there are criminal elements, there's a part of the police that will respond to that directly. And you don't expect them to necessarily come laughing or smiling because it's serious business. So very often they come, but professional to deal with the situation at hand and stop whatever crime it is or arrest the perpetrators. And so there is a balance where on one side people understand the job of the police on making sure that everything works in the society as it should work. There's the rule of law and there's discipline. And the other side, there's the police that is going to stop crimes from being perpetrated or arrest those who engage in crime. And it's a good cop, bad cop situation, as we know from the movies, And the bad cop situation is where there is crime, and that has to be stopped because that is why that is what the community expects. There is some mutuality, or there's a common interest in what the police does in these cases with what the society expects.
Now, isn't there the danger that if you have the policeman being that friendly and interacting with the community, it gets to a point where they could be compromised?
Oh, no. Professionalism wouldn't allow you to compromise your responsibility. The point is, you don't have to be brutal to be a police officer. You can be friendly and still maintain law and order. And
because I mean, if we look, let's look at it in the our context. Again, context.
if you
have a policeman who's coming to your office and interacting with you, let me check your premises. What are you doing? And then next thing it happens that some crime has been committed. And the policeman comes and says, "I have to pick this one." I say, "Oh, I mean, Masa, are you sure you want to arrest? I mean, can we talk about this?"
Of course, that is his responsibility and obligation to the community, that he has to do these things. And he can do both, as Mr. Grant indicated. You don't want the community to feel scared. Even as he said, you don't have a community of criminals alone. You have good citizens. The good citizens should get the benefit of a friendly police officer. The bad citizens should have the benefit of a brutal police officer, because you don't want him to even stay in the community. So he has to be running when he sees the police officer. But you see, the relationship is, if there's a good relationship between the police and the community and the businesses, they give tip-offs. This guy just moving to the neighborhood, I think you should be watching him. So it helps the police to identify potential criminal activities before they even happen. So that relationship is very critical, that businesses, because at the end of the day, somebody's investment got to be protected. And it's not only going to be the security agencies but the police service as we know it. Yeah.
Are there some aspects of policing that you feel that the police could do a lot more with?
Yes, I think the engagement to the public is critical. The engagement with business is also critical. So that there's no misunderstanding of the purpose of the police. And like we've been discussing, there are two sides of it. The side that instills confidence in the people, and the side that also instills corrective measures in the people, And very often there is a bit of a confusion. People distrust the police because they think that the police doesn't respond to the social issues. They respond to the powers that be, But that can be demystified by the community policing getting more engaging with the communities. So, for example, I live in Area X. How often have the police there come to ask me whether I'm okay? How often have they helped kids cross the road? How often have they helped old people cross the road or make sure old people are okay? How often have they stopped incidences where there's suspected crime or the wrong thing is being done? And all these things are able to bridge the trust divide between the community and the police. Or how responsive are they? So there was an alarm. How quick were the police to engage, and what did they do when they got there? So those are all little bits and pieces that need to be bridged together. And yes, you did ask a question. So does it mean if I see the police often, I'll lose respect and fear of them? Not if they are professional, as Mr. Sebu said. If they are very professional, I mean, I can give you an example. That I witnessed in China, where the police, there was a situation where I went there as part of a delegation, and something happened. The police came very friendly, spoke to us very nicely in their halting English, etc., etc. But when the arresting officer came, he was not compromising. He was smiling, but what he had to do, he did.
Thank you.
So there was an arresting officer?
Yes.
There was an arrest.
Different from the guy
the police who came and engaged and was nice and asked all the friendly questions to the parties that were involved. But when the arresting officer came, on the instruction of the investigative officer, it was swift, thorough, non-compromising. Although he was smiling, and the party who was at fault was, he was surprised. But he says, well, but this is the law. You have a choice. This is the law. You either obey it or face the consequences. And it's as simple and clear-cut as that.
Now, we know of the typical crimes, the normal crimes that happen, thefts and break-ins and the rest, that you can readily report to the police. But there are some other crimes that probably, more specifically having to do with businesses, that probably businesses are not too sure of that they can report to the police.
That is similar to data destruction, cyber crimes. Now, we move into a new era of crime. And why would you want to see the police be equipped in a way that they can assist businesses? Businesses themselves don't have the capacity. Let's be sincere about this. We don't have capacity to track and trace and even protect our data. So if the service is going to move up to protect businesses, it got to move in that direction, how we can detect ahead of time. I prefer prevention instead of fighting.
All right.
Prevention is, it happens, you do it before it can happen. Let me give you a scenario. December 9, 2016, International Anti-Corruption Day. Normally, it's the civil society that march around, but this year we decided to do at the regions. And the police marched with us. And police were carrying placards. We're fighting crime. We're fighting corruption. And don't bribe the policeman. People were like, well, are you kidding me? This is the new police. Yes, because they realized that the image can be improved, obviously, in a combination and collective action between partners. And those are the things that you want to see. Fighting the normal crime that we use, the petty theft and others, and fighting the cyber sophisticated crimes that are affecting businesses, intellectual property being taken, data being perforated, So those are the areas that we want to see a lot more of the service come to us.
Are there any other areas that you feel that the police could do a lot more?
Well, like he did mention, there's a new era of business where information is as good as your business. And therefore, access and the use of information is just as critical as ensuring the peace in the community. And the police's preparedness to deal with these things like cybercrime, like abuse of your data, your rights as an individual. And that goes in a long stretch of activities, from your personal data to your data of your company and all that. Somebody breaks into your computer and steals data. That's criminal. It must be dealt to the police. Are they able to deal with it? Those are the new emerging areas that are coming also. But there's also the area of image building,
okay.
Which I keep focusing on, because image building is very important in ensuring that there is understanding on the side of the police and understanding on the side of the public. The truth of the matter is that as much as the police have a responsibility to the public also has a responsibility to the police.
Yes,
that you have to report crimes, you have to do the right things. And the police is sometimes faced with difficulties because there are some, crimes that may be so petty they can actually diffuse what could be a difficult situation of saying he's done something petty, and you immediately grab him, take him to court and put him in jail. They might be able to sanction the person such that, they create a deterrent for that behavior happening or a pattern happening. And that is where the difficulty of the police comes in, because they have to weigh the very serious things against the not so serious things, but also prevent the not so serious things becoming serious things. At the same time, you, the public, need to know better not to do those things and make sure that the police then doesn't come in your face, because you don't want that.
Yeah, but talking about, let's stay with this point of it, because same way you're saying that there are some crimes that the police can take action and prevent, there are some crimes too that when you report to the police would find clear. You go to the police station and tell them somebody is using my image, my company logo. I'm sure the policeman is going to look at you and like,
today.
What am I going to do about it? I mean, are they aware about some of these crimes?
Well, they should be aware, because there's dynamism in society. And as society gets more complex, gets more technical, the policing and the responsiveness to social issues are also very technical. So somebody reports a crime somewhere. How quickly can the police respond? That depends on the kind of technology infrastructure they have. And they need to know it and understand it. So somebody calls me on my phone issuing threats, death threats, etc., etc. I don't know who it is. I report to the police. Can they use the technology to find the person? Somebody reports a theft somewhere. And maybe, he can't talk, or so he sends a text message. Can the police identify where the message is coming from and go there? Those are some of the emerging challenges that the police might have.
Yeah. And still staying with the needs of businesses, there are some crimes that they would expect the police to appreciate, that these are things that businesses would want the police to take care of.
Yeah. And that's the point that I brought across about the cyber crimes and data protection. You mentioned the pilferage of somebody's intellectual property or, copyrights. Businesses are looking to the police as a first order of protection. Even when they have their own security system, they look at the police as number one. So the partnership between business and police should be at the highest levels. The CEO should know the community policemen around the neighborhood and be able to call them, have their telephone numbers or no. We don't. Even if you ask a police officer for a telephone number, he's not going to give it to you. And we're also, also guilty of that because some CEOs wouldn't want to talk to anybody. They're big, high, they're top people.
Talk to my secretary.
Yeah, talk to my secretary.
Which secretary has a secretary?
So we really all have to scale up. We all have to build our community relationship because I said intelligence to police comes back to help us to protect ourselves. And if we do not let the police to potential, they are as human as we are. They can be all places at the same time. So as businesses, there must be a better relationship. We also have to build a trust that, the police is not looking to take something from out of our pockets only, out of our pockets because they want to help us. They are there to help us for our businesses to grow. At the end of the day, it helps the police to know the community is functioning right.
All right, so all of this that we're talking about has to do with the transformation agenda that the police has been talking about and which we're here discussing so that we're giving them some great feedback. There are background checks that are conducted by the police. Would businesses want it to be done differently or probably done a lot faster?
Not even get done faster. Businesses don't take advantage of that opportunity. Only a few businesses have the employees fingerprinted, background checked, and all that. So it's something that we've been talking about, that we have to engage the police. We have to get them to also even teach businesses how to protect themselves and protect their assets. So those are areas that we really need to have a collaborative platform between us that we can do. If you go into productivity at work, how do you measure that? When people are not there, they cannot produce. If they come in late as a consequence of traffic jam, how do you expect them to perform? So you're talking about traffic management. We have a case where there'll be lineup of miles of people trying to go to work. They left their house 6 o'clock, got to the office 9:30. So you also want to see police train their personnel how to manage traffic better than, because we depend on it. People's presence at the premises to perform is critical. So those are some of the areas that you want to see the new police service provide that to business.
Mr. Grant, how differently would you want the police to handle or manage traffic?
Well, it's just not even traffic, but the use of intelligence to create a preventive police force. That how much more are we using intelligence to police our communities better? So like Nana mentioned, the traffic, for example. I know that there are many cameras all over town that are doing a lot of serious monitoring. How does that help with traffic management? Because staying in traffic 3 hours before you get to work, when you could be there in 25 minutes, is not only counterproductive and counterintuitive to business. It damages your health, and it damages the roads. The cars are polluting because they are at standstill. Fusions and emissions are going to the air. So all those are part of the police's responsibility of ensuring a safe and healthy community. So intelligence is very important. Like you did mention, somebody comes new into the community and suddenly, he's getting all sorts of visitors, parties, screaming. Does the police have enough information about who this person is, what he's doing, how he's being funded, and how come he's so different from the rest of the community? So these things help. And they help when there's significant use of intelligence and analysis of the intelligence for productive policing. It's very important. It's key. And I think as we are transforming, those are one of the key. That's one of the key areas that we need to pay a lot of attention to. How many more graduates, and there's a lot of graduate unemployment. How many more graduates are being employed into the police to do the background intelligence work? As we speak, I'm told that current policing levels is 1 to 500 in Ghana, whereas the UN has stipulated 1 to 500 as the optimal policing relationship or ratio, whereas in Ghana it's 1 to 5,000. So that means that there's still a lot of room to employ a lot of people into the police. The issue is, how does private sector and the public engage to make sure that even as we move from 1 to 5,000 to 1 to 500, we have enough money to support the police and remove this whole idea of you have to tip the policeman and bribe him and compromise him so that you can do whatever you want. So it's a serious matter that needs to, and in the transformation agenda, it should be one of the things that we should pay attention to, because it's critical for the investor in the country, both indigenous investor and foreign direct investor.
Right, the bribery and the corruption bit too. I mean, it's an issue that worries the police, the businesses a lot.
Of course, because if you're going to report on an issue and the understanding or belief is that you have to pay quid pro quo before action, then you try not to even go there, because you might not have the deep pockets to feed the pocket of the policeman. So if the image is friendliness, collaborative partnership, and as you indicated, the intelligence, why am I going to tell you something when I don't trust you? It's a trust issue. If I trust the police officer, I'll go behind and say, my friend, this is happening in our community, so pay attention.
Well, this is happening in our business.
In our community and the business, And if this is what is needed, I will also tip you off. So that trust and the partnership with the friendly atmosphere and attitude is critical, because businesses want to protect themselves, but they cannot do it by themselves. Police cannot do it alone. So this new image is, how do we together create the understanding that corruption is not going to happen in the police service? Because if you come in to report a crime, you don't have to pay anything. And as I indicate, December 9th, if you see the video of the police people carrying placards, don't bribe a police officer. We're fighting crime. We're there for you. So you see now, people are, is that the Ghana police? They say, yeah, it's not coming from a foreign police. This is the Ghana police, and that's a new police service that is offering to the community and to the businesses. So businesses are appreciative of. And I keep repeating this. Let the police officer walk into the business, announce himself. I'm your community police officer. I just want to know you and you get to know me. Believe me, it will change the dynamics of the business.
Right, so we've talked a lot about what the police can do for the private sector, but can we also have some collaboration between the private sector and the police so that they can be able to do all the things that we're talking about? Because it requires a lot of funding to do all that.
Absolutely, and I think that is where the relationship which Nana spoke about earlier comes in as well. I mean, at GIPC, we actually have 2 policemen who are in situ, who are helping us with, people who come with fake registrations and be able to respond quickly to issues because they know the law as well. And that partnership has helped us recently, where we've had quick action on some of these arrests that have happened because people broke the law. They came with fake, including supposed foreign direct investors who came with fake documentation, forged documentation. And the police were able to quickly apprehend them before they escaped, when they got to know that we knew. So that's where a lot of the partnerships come. Police is for the wider public. It's not supposed to be for only some people. It's for everybody. So I think that partnerships with businesses are also important because businesses need the police, and the police also need the businesses. And the last point I want to make is the self-esteem of the police itself. We as business need to help them build self-esteem. So when you see a policeman, you respect him, like him, at the same time fear him, because you dispassionately be professional. He'll be friendly enough to also respond to your needs and help to create a more convivial business environment where people go about their businesses correctly, rightly, make their money and enjoy it as they should.
All right. I talk about how the businesses can support the police, but how do we do it, Nana, in a way that you don't necessarily compromise the police? Because if some businessman has made a donation to the police, then the businessman would expect something back.
Not necessarily. All that we're talking about need resource. Government alone cannot do it. And the businesses are the beneficiaries or victims of police service. So if we don't support them, as of now, I'm talking to the Federation's partners and some of the foreign bilateral business associations to come together and provide some resource to alert the public, alert businesses what the police service can do. So because if we're always waiting for the little trickle down from government resource and allocations, I think maybe the next 100 years is going to take us a short time, But I think it's about time that businesses wake up. And we're going to come back on this program or other jurisdictions and bring different groups of businesses to look at how do we create a resource to assist the police. And that's an angle that I think every businessman should contribute to. Businessman and woman. Yeah. To contribute towards that.
And indeed, a program like this, also needs to be supported, because what we'll be doing on this program is to educate the public and
yes.
businesses,
yes,
so that they get to know of their rights and their responsibilities and what they can expect of them.
I think you call it awareness, I call it education. The education of the business people to realize the magnitude of service police can offer and how the resource had to be created to get that done. Because at the end of the day, we become beneficiaries of that.
Certainly. Right, so thank you very much for joining us for this show. That's about it. I've had in the studio with me the Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation, Nana Osei Bonsu, and also the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Mr. Yofi Grant. Thank you for making time, and thank you too for watching the show. Have a good night. Bye.